Hi Dana,
Amira, hello.
how
How
are
are
you?
you?
Wallahi, so good to be back.
We missed you. It's been a long time.
I know. It's been crazy, like I told you I've been traveling for work.
Yeah.
Where I just returned على the first day of Ramadan.
Okay.
Yes, so it's been يعني uh, لسه I'm trying to sort of, like resettle, into, previous life routine.
Yeah.
Uh, بس الحمد لله الحمد لله.
Alhamdulillah. It's good to see you.
Thank you. How are you? How's Ramadan for Japan?
It's very different, obviously. But I mean, I've only ever experienced Ramadan. No, I have. I was in Toronto. I experienced Ramadan in Toronto before, but
Yeah.
um, I mean, but even in Toronto, like other people. There's other
Yes. The
Egyptians.
community,
There's
sort of.
there's
Yeah.
nothing.
Ah.
There's nothing. Zero. ما فيش.
And how many fasting hours?
No, that's fine. It's like we eat at 5:40, 5:40, 5:50. Today was 5:50 حاجة كده. It's very reasonable. Um, and
Oh,
I'm still jet lagged. I sleep still until
of
like 11
course.
or 12 in the
Of course.
afternoon. It's not like there's a it's
So
more
so
relaxed than
now
that.
now it's evening or nighttime
Yeah, now
one
it's
day.
8 p.m.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 11 here in the UK. So this is like 9 hours
Yeah.
into 9 hours ahead.
Yeah, 9 hours ahead.
But I could imagine you are jet lagged because Anna, I was in Dubai for like what 6 or 7 weeks,
Yeah.
and coming back, and I felt I am jet lagged,
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
it's just 4 hours.
Yeah.
But it's weird that going there, I don't feel إنه أي حاجة في time zone
Mm,
difference. I'm
mm,
fine.
mm,
I'm body
mm.
adjusting fine.
Yeah.
Coming back here, لا. You know,
Yeah.
waking up time,
Yeah.
sleeping time,
Yeah.
feeling hungry kind of
Yeah.
time. What do they
Yeah.
call it? The circadian, whatever,
Circadian rhythm. Yeah.
circadian is thing here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's hard. And this is my third time in to Japan in 1 year. And the first time I came, I was only here for 1 week. So I think the sort of the adrenaline and I'm only here for 1 week. I don't have time to be jet lagged. I was
Yes.
fine. The
Yeah.
last time I was here for 2 weeks. The whole time I was jet lagged. It didn't ما زبطش at all until the day I left. And now I've been here 2 weeks again, and it's getting a little bit better. Yani I'm sleeping. I think yesterday I would manage to sleep at like 1 instead of like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. But it's starting to, and I still have time. I'm still gonna be here for a while, so hopefully it's gonna.
So until when, inshallah, you're staying in
I'm
Japan?
planning on staying until May 6th, inshallah. Like to at least be with her for at least a month after she delivers.
Yes,
Yeah, at
yes,
least. And she still
yes.
hasn't delivered yet. So listen,
حبيبتي.
she's not
Yeah.
overdue or anything. We're just too excited, but her due date is not until March 21st anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice springtime ومother's day وكل
Yeah,
good
yeah,
life
yeah,
يعني.
yeah. احنا بس we just want it to happen
Yeah.
early, وهي she wants it to happen early, like خلاص بقى
Yes.
تعبت.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. We all remember that time when you're like, خلاص بقى يعني,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
want the baby out إن شاء الله,
اه
بخير والسلامة إن شاء الله إن شاء
بالظبط
الله.
بالظبط
In good
فإن
health
شاء
بإذن
الله.
الله.
Yeah.
بإذن
I don't
الله.
know where everybody is, but looks like so far it's just me and you, Amira.
Well,
I
that's
don't know. Let me just check the group in
that's my
case,
privilege today.
yeah, in case
Okay.
somebody's is stuck or not able to find the link. Let me just check the group.
Well, actually, the link only worked when I saw in the Facebook chat because that was a hyperlink. Like in the link that was in the Word document, it didn't
Oh,
work with.
hang on. Rania is stuck. Hang on. Let me give her the link.
Yeah.
Mm, because I had a feeling there's no way all these people are missing. And the passcode 481840. Wait, 1 a.m. Oh, there she is. She found it. She's here. Okay. All right. Can't see anybody else missing. Hi, Rania. All right, let's get started. Doesn't look like there's anybody else missing today. And I know that this the time difference might be a bit, we changed it because we used to have these calls, Amira, at 7 p.m. Cairo. But
Yes.
obviously past couple of weeks I've had to change it. I don't know if you guys know each other.
No, I'm just
No.
saying hi, typing hi to Rania now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
no idea.
Rania Amira did my last detox in September. September, right?
Yes,
Amira.
September, yeah.
And she's been with us since the beginning of January, but she's been traveling for work and everything. This is her first Zoom session in this group, I
Yes,
believe.
yes.
Rania has been working with me for, should I say Rania? 8 years? Wait,
MashaAllah.
9 years? 2016, 2017, حاجة كده, forever, yes. So, yeah. So so far it looks like it's just the two of you today, which means we have a bit of flexibility. I did want to talk about spirituality today, but what we had also started doing in our sessions, not the book club sessions, but the sessions where we focus on our primary food, is we start each session with a win, a share. Everybody goes through and sort of tells in what they've been able to, if there's been a breakthrough, if there's been something you've been able to accomplish in anything that we've done so far. So it could be about in the home module, in the relationship, any of the exercises related to all of those. Obviously, this month is spirituality, anything around reading, anything around your health. We always, we're trying to get into that habit of starting the primary food sessions with everybody's wins, shares. So who would like to start?
Well, probably Rania because she goes way older, you know, and this or
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, since we started the program and we've gone, oh, okay, Rania. I have
yeah,
been trying to work on being more passive. It's been hard practicing. Sorry, can't talk. Okay, no
cannot talk.
problem.
Okay.
Okay, so more passive as in more allowing, right, Rania? Just like not having to control everything, not being too attached to the outcome of anything necessarily, but just letting things be. I tend to take control. Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Amira, can you relate?
I think yes. I think for me, uh, I feel I'm more grounded.
Mm,
I mean, compared to previous most recent times,
yeah.
I feel I'm grounded. I feel I sleep better also.
Mm, okay.
Yes, I have better sleep. Um, One thing I'm proud of, and I think it's related, and again going back to that's secondary food though, not primary food.
Yeah.
إنه every day for Ramadan I break my fast with celery juice.
Amazing.
Yes, and
That's huge.
I'm so proud of that. So proud. يعني at first I thought it's going to be إنه لا, it's a big step and difficult, but no, it's not. And I think it's because I'm convinced, okay, or maybe here is convinced that my body's been dehydrated, for
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 18 or whatever, how many hours,
Yeah.
okay? And my liver has not been, needs, a boost and
Yeah.
needs, to get rid of the toxins or whatever. So
Yeah.
it is good for me.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe the success is I don't force myself to it. I don't even try to convince myself of it.
Mm,
It comes
mm,
natural.
mm.
إنه, طبيعي.
Yeah.
And I love this. So
Yeah.
yes, this would be one thing I'm proud of, and it keeps me, somehow balanced, I think.
That's a huge one. That's definitely a huge win. Um, because especially when it comes to Ramadan and Fitar and Suhoor, we really are so used to, I mean, the word program, I don't like it, but it kind of is that, we're just so used to that it has to be done in a certain way, like ما ينفعش يعني breaking your fast has to be this and this. You haven't eaten all day, it needs to be this. Suhoor needs to be this. And nobody really ever questions that. Like we
Mm,
never think, well, what if I don't? What if I have celery juice and break,
yes.
and our brain is going to resist that because for our entire, however long we've been fasting since we were, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, and now we're 51 like me, you've been doing it in one specific way. And everybody, more importantly, everybody around you has been doing it in one specific way. There's no variation. Um, so in order for you to overcome that and feel amazing and feel little to no resistance is
Yes.
a huge accomplishment. Rania. It's my nature, want to be more my feminine. Yeah, I'll get to that. That's amazing. Have been eating clean, but need to focus more on breaking my fast on lemon water and take my time. This is a challenging one. I've personally I've never been able to, not because I'm not convinced. Physically, for some reason, my body, when I'm fasting, like having lemon water when I break a fast, a regular fast, and have breakfast in the morning is not a problem. But having lemon water al fatar has always been very, my body just doesn't work. I get like a cramp in my stomach, like it
Mhm.
just doesn't work for me. So be gentle with yourself if it's not working, right? If it doesn't work. I know that I can break my fast with a smoothie, and
Yeah.
that works fine. And it actually feels amazing when I do that. But breaking my fast with just lemon water, I mean, um Rania, if it's just a matter that you just want to do it and you just haven't been able to, that's one thing. But like, don't force your body either if it doesn't work. Been rushing and focusing on everyone else. Need to from tomorrow and to focus and make myself a priority. Okay, from that respect, I see what you mean. Yeah, you have to like put all the food out and you maybe forgot to prepare your own lemon water or your own thing. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit different. Definitely. And I love that you want, the whole control issue. But this is why the whole spirituality is so important because out of all the primary foods, spirituality, I think the one that's just is sort of built into it,
Mm,
passivity or just allowing, right? Or just faith. Like that's the whole point of being spiritual, that there is no control when you're being spiritual, when you just let a higher power take over. So if there was ever a time to really practice, I think your letting go, it would be in a month when we're trying to focus on the spiritual, because the spiritual is all about letting go. It's all about releasing your need to control, releasing your need to know, you're releasing your need to have definite answers, releasing your need to have a specific outcome happen. That's what happens with spirituality. It's the most feminine, I think, of all the primary foods, also, out of all of them, because of the special attribute of just allowing. Hi, Noha. Welcome. Oh, and Delia's here too. Oh, okay. Lots of people joining us today. Um, Rania or Amira, would you like to add on to your wins with anything or elaborate, or should I call on one of the other ladies?
I think I can say, I mean, just taking from what you just said, the focusing more on myself,
لا كده
okay?
لازم تمشي مع محمود عشان هو هيروح يجيب عمر.
Yeah. Sorry, go
But
ahead. Yeah.
but yes, I am doing that, but I must be honest with myself and with the ladies here. It is easier. This is my first Ramadan when my daughters are not with me.
Mm,
Okay, so it's just me,
mm,
you know, and so I don't have to, as Rania was saying, I don't have to attend, to, what people expect of me, what they need of me, what I think they expect of me.
yeah.
Okay, and as much as I was missing that and feeling nostalgic and feeling like, oh, this Ramadan doesn't feel like, before, but I think it's very good for my sort of my nervous system,
Yeah.
you know, it is so good because it's so chilled, it's so low key,
Yes.
okay? And everything I do is for me,
Mm,
okay? What works for me. And I think I'm enjoying this feeling.
yeah.
Yani, part of me feels I'm such a selfish or maybe a bad mom because how come, ya Amira, you're enjoying this, you know, your daughters are not there, you're not standing in the kitchen عشان to do this for that one and cook this dish for that other one. But even today in the morning, I was speaking with my daughter and I'm telling her when is she coming home? She lives like 6 hours away from me. And she's like, oh, I might come in the weekend. And a part of me felt that, does that mean, you know, I have to like stand in the kitchen more, cook more?
Yeah.
I'm happy as it is. I want her to come, but I'm
Yes.
happy.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just low key. I pick the food I eat. I pick when I eat. Like it doesn't have to be all crowded, like quickly in these 4 or 5 hours, you know,
Yes.
just, shove yourself with this or that.
Yeah.
No. So the feeling of going back again to Rania and you, like being in control is such a good feeling. But maybe I have the advantage of there's no social pressure because, you know, I don't get invited. I don't invite people,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm away from home. So you don't have those kind of pressures.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's always a challenge for sure. Yeah. So the idea of like, you know, you're in control, but you're also not, you know, like you're in control of your time. You get to prioritize you, but also in a way that's so freeing,
Yes.
you know? Yeah. And
Yes.
then because we're just not used to it as women.
No.
Such a foreign feeling to feel like I'm the only one. I'm the only one who needs my attention today. Nobody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And I think very important for us women at a stage in our lives when our kids are grown and older, if we don't get in tune with that, it can be very easy for us to miss opportunities at this age. For us to like, it's time for us to bring the focus back. I see a lot of women kind of get stuck in, well, let me, you know, sort of create a need where there isn't one, where they think their kids still need them, but they actually don't because
Yes.
they don't know how to take time off for themselves. They don't know how to prioritize themselves. They don't want to let go of being needed so much. And to our detriment, unfortunately, because we've done our job. We really have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one of the, I mean, from my own perspective, you know, my own experience, I think one of the, you know, biggest challenges for women in the, you know, in the Arab world and specifically maybe Egypt, since, you know, is that we are wired or programmed or, you know, conditioned, you know, growing up that your being, okay, is defined, okay, and reduced to the being of the family you create, like your kids, your husband, you know, your mom and dad. And but so you lose yourself in the process, you know, without knowing, and it becomes so normal because this is what you saw your mother doing and her mother doing, and I mean, like, it's a whole kind of circle thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And personally, I've seen my mom, okay, and even though my mom, you know, was, you know, she's been working until she was retired, you know, she had a status, you know, outside of home, but still, I saw my mom literally, I don't know if that's like dissolving herself, you know, in us. Okay, this is why when we moved out, okay, and you know, my dad passed away a couple of years ago. She's living by herself now. Okay, she finds no purpose, you know, in life. And I remember when I saw her like that, I thought about it and I promised myself that I do not want to be like my mother. You know, I do not want to lose identity, you know, and while creating, you know, identity for my daughters, you know, and for those around me. Because what will happen, you know, when, as they say, you know, when they when they fly the nest, you know, what happens, you know, where does that leave me? So I need to find a purpose. I need to find something I like, something that makes me happy, something that fulfills me, you know, while still being a mom, of course. But I think that the older generations, this is where they could not get it, you know, right, like finding the balance.
Yeah.
So
I mean, very true. But it's not just us in the Middle East. I mean, I'm in a coaching group um with women from all over the world. I want to say they're mostly Europeans, some Americans, British. I think there's only two of us. It's about a group of 70 women, maybe. Maybe only two of us. There's a lady in Dubai who's also in it. Me, I think two ladies in Dubai and me. So there's only like three Middle Easterners in this group.
Mm,
And we were talking about the exact same thing. It's not just a Middle Eastern thing. So one of the
mm,
conversations we were having, I was saying, because my daughter's having a baby, and it just suddenly feels like, I mean, if there's anything that's going to remind you of how old you are, like how many years have passed, and sort of a reminder that okay, I'm middle aged. Like, how much time do I have left? Like, it's a real wake up call.
mm.
So we were having this conversation, and so many of us were saying that, unfortunately, yes, there are some regrets, right? You regret things, when you reach a certain point in your life and you sort of take stock of what's happened already, and then you're looking to the future. Naturally, there's going to be some regrets, and a lot of us shared the regret of, combination of either not finding something that fulfilled us or not finding a passion or um not being 100% fulfilled in who you are as a human, as a woman, aside from your role as a mother. Um, some ladies were sharing, their regret at constantly people pleasing as a woman, constantly being in that mode of you don't want to upset anyone, you don't want to say no to anyone. Um, not putting up enough boundaries. And as a result, there's lost opportunities. And then we were saying how, because of that, then there's a fear, if we don't change that now, that you can stay in this cycle once your
Yes.
kids are grown and they've flown the nest, as you say. If you don't take conscious, if you're not consciously aware of that and make a very conscientious effort to change that, we're going to find ourselves in another 40 years when we're 80 or 90 having the same regret. Except the difference is now we have time to change. Now we have
Change.
potential to make that change. When you're 80 or 90, pretty much over. So it's so important to realize this, and the more we can allow ourselves to think, just start to think and think without guilt. Like Amira's enjoying herself, but there's this little guilt in the back, like, should I really be enjoying myself? We have to get over that guilt, and we have to start realizing that we have dedicated and committed and completed, I think, the main bulk of our job as mothers, I believe. And it's time for us to move forward with a different mindset that still honors, like, I mean, okay, my daughter's having a baby. Just because I've decided I'm the bulk of my mothering is finished, doesn't mean I'm not going to be there for my daughter when she's having a baby or she needs anything, right? But it also doesn't mean I'm not going to put my life on hold necessarily the way I did before for my family or my kids. And we have to find, like you said, our mothers weren't able to find that. It was all or nothing. We're
Yes.
very lucky that we can completely fulfill ourselves in our roles as mothers, but then also look ahead to what we can do with ourselves personally, away from our role as mothers.
Yeah.
Um, Noha, Rania, any thoughts on this? Noha's laughing. Rania said, my win is keeping and maintaining my organized cupboards. Oh yeah, you told us about that. And you showed us the pictures. I don't know if Amira, you noticed that when we were doing the decluttering. Rania shared on the group.
Mm. I was not following the flowers thing
Yeah.
because flowers is a big thing for me. I always have flowers in the house. I buy
Amazing.
myself flowers.
Oh,
You know, Yes.
Yep.
I stop by. I mean, if I'm just, strolling or walking and I see, flowers, I have to take photos of flowers, So
Okay.
I have a kind of like a morning flower affirmation kind of,
Mm,
yes. Yeah, so I love that. And so I was very happy, when I saw that, you were talking as the group, about the
yeah.
flowers and, and
Yeah.
having the corner, in the house with that.
Yeah.
They just bring joy to your heart.
Right?
So
Exactly. Um, yeah, definitely. So we love that. That's a great win, Rania. Noha, do you have a win? We're sharing wins today, or before we, get more into the spirituality. If you have a win around anything we've done so far, home, decluttering, any of the activities like, the flowers, the dinner with your family, the self-care, the hair mask, the face yoga, um,
Um,
relationships.
I think that my main wins are yes, family with dinner with the family. We do that every day.
Amazing.
Flowers, yes, but I've always done that. The the
Okay.
the eating, it's like part of our ritual. It's not
Okay.
something I've added. I have to say that
Okay.
we've always done that. The flowers, yes, I've been doing that every week. Decluttering, I've done so much, although I regularly do declutter, but I made a point that this month to overdo it, and
Okay.
I succeed. I think I succeeded in at least doing my clothes and the kids' clothes, and
Okay.
I've done a lot.
Okay.
I've done some changes to the house to make it more aesthetically pleasing to me, or
Okay.
relaxing.
You're right.
I don't have a corner yet for reading. I
Okay.
struggled with reading. I have to admit, I haven't read. I only read two of the books.
Okay.
Since Ramadan started, it's been very hectic. I haven't been able to do any reading, and I mostly do Quran, so I don't
Yeah.
have that much time. And I don't think I'll be able to do any reading before the end of Ramadan. So after Eid, maybe I'll go back to that.
Okay.
I didn't do the face yoga, but I do yoga every day, so I
Right.
don't know if that would be considered a win. I am not
Okay.
sure. I struggled with the somatic exercise. I have to say that I haven't done. I did it twice,
Hmm.
but I haven't continued on doing it.
Okay.
I haven't found a time in the day to do it, or I don't know. That's one of the things that I haven't really approached. That's it. Regarding what Amira was talking about the making time for ourselves, I think I'm completely not there because my kids are still very young. They're only
Mhm.
14 and 15.
Yeah.
So they're still at home. They're still causing a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I have more time for myself, yes, now than before because they don't need continuous attention like they used to.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm making space for myself a little bit in the morning when they're not around, when I don't have to drive or take them places or prepare dinner or whatever. I think I talked about this before. I think I do those 2 hours of yoga in the morning. I try to um, read or do something very calm within the day before they come. I take maybe an hour to just sit there and do something very calm.
Okay.
Uh, in between chores. And I think that this has helped a lot. And making my yoga a priority, meaning that if they're late in the morning and I can't make yoga, I let them take a taxi or an Uber. I don't drive them. So
Okay.
I've never done that before. And I think that I've put my foot down and I said that this is something important for me. I need to do it in the morning. If you're not going to help me be there on time, then you're on your own. And luckily, they're old enough to do that. And I think that has helped everyone at home to understand how important that is to me. So
Mm.
now they respect it so much. So
Mm.
they sometimes make it a point to wake up early and allow me to do that, which I've never done before. So I think that's a win.
That's definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Respecting mom's
Um,
boundaries. That's huge.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I think because I've realized that's whatever needs I had, they were not considered important at home. It was always their needs or
Yes.
their dad's needs that are always more important. And because I never asked them to give that to me, and uh I was not actually speaking out about what's important for me and what they need to give me. And I think lately I've been talking more about that, explaining myself more and telling them that these things are important for me and you have to respect them and make space for them. I have boys, which makes it even harder to talk because they don't really talk, they don't accept lots of emotions or talking or explaining yourself.
Yeah,
But I think I got to a point where they're at least trying to listen a little bit. So I think that's a win.
100%.
Uh, that's it.
Thank you. That's beautiful. That's a lot of wins. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I mean, for me, like even if the boys are not listening, I mean, yeah, that age they just basically, grunt,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but the fact that you have gotten them to respect something that is so important for you, uh, and for them to understand that, when mom says something is important for her, this is her time, she needs to focus on this, they get it now. It's not
Hmm.
it's not just like, oh, whatever, mom can just do it later, which is what a lot, we do that most of the time. Like we'll push what we need later, if it gets in the way of the things that our kids need. I think this is one of the biggest wins you've mentioned
I
today.
think that the main problem was that I wasn't allowing myself to see that is important for me. That everything else uh, felt more important than whatever I needed to do. Which in turn made them prioritize themselves all the time, which I think is really bad for the kids themselves because
Mhm.
they don't really learn to address everyone else around them. They only think about themselves and they
Yeah,
become self-centered. So I
absolutely.
realized that I was even hurting them by
Yes,
not voicing whatever I need.
exactly.
um, so I think it's better for both of us, for all of us.
Yes.
um,
100%. And
uh,
what you said about expressing what you need. Sometimes,
yeah.
I mean, everybody can fall in, where we sort of, make the mistake of assuming that everybody knows what we need. And they
Mm.
should know that this is important for me.
Hmm.
They should understand, but they don't.
Hmm.
Most of the time, unless somebody points it out to you, if somebody hasn't said this is really important for me, I really need to do this, we assume that they should know this, but they don't, to their
Hmm.
credit, they don't. And so why should they make this space? Why should they accommodate? Why should they try and be on time if we haven't expressed, you know, um, that this is very important for us? And this is actually something I was also talking about in this group of women that I was in, is that we're not in the habit of voicing our needs
Yes.
generally. It's just like how we suppress emotions, when we're sad, when we're upset, we also don't express needs the way that we should. We don't express uh we don't speak about or talk about things that are really important for us and things that we feel we need to do to make us a better mom, to make us a better human. And we just move along in this sort of robotic sort of, trance every day, just doing everything we need to do, and then get upset when somebody oversteps. But have we
Yes.
actually created that by expressing our need? Have we created that boundary or just that understanding by truly expressing what's important for us? No, right? So I love that you're doing that.
Thank you.
For your somatic workouts, I find the best time to do them is in bed right before I go to sleep.
I'll try that. I think by the time I'm in bed, I'm so dead. I don't want to do it. There's no energy there.
Well, I
But
mean,
then I'll
yeah,
try.
the great thing is they don't require any, right? And some
Yeah,
of them, the
I'll
first
try
two
that.
are a little bit longer. I think the first 2 or 3 days, but by day 11, like that, they're only about 7 minutes. and
Okay.
and super short, super simple. So definitely, and they help you to fall asleep, and they help you to
بجد
go.
اجيب واحدة تساعدني.
So if you've struggled with finding the time, I highly recommend doing it. Like, you get into bed, give yourself 15, 20 minutes before actually falling asleep and do them in bed.
Okay.
All right.
I
Um,
have another thing that I wanted. I'm finding the books a bit challenging to get hooked on.
mm. Which ones have you read? You said you read
I,
two.
I yeah, I read The Feminine Genius and what was the first one?
Think and Grow
To
Rich.
Grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
I've liked The Feminine Genius more than Think and Grow Rich. I didn't
Yeah.
like the first one at all.
Yeah.
But I haven't had the energy to start the third one. And because I felt they required a lot of focus and they were not as catchy as I would have wanted them to be, I'm slacking in reading.
There's a
So do you
big
have a
range of
recommendation on
books.
something I
Yeah.
can do now? A
Yeah,
book
well,
I
you're
can read?
gonna find resistance to book genres, as they say, that you've never read before. You might be somebody, I think in this group there's a variety. There's either women who used to read a lot, stopped, and then we're very excited to come back to reading. Some who are used to reading, but not literature. Maybe they read academically, maybe they read newspapers, things like that. Then there's ladies who are very much into self-help books, okay, and never really read literature, especially older kind of literature. So the books that I've chosen are kind of a mix. So we had these first two, Think and Grow Rich and Feminine Genius, were more of in the self-help department, but also to showcase the difference between the masculine and the feminine energies. That was the main goal behind those two books, to really show you, one teaches you how to approach life. Here's the masculine way, and one shows you the feminine way to approach life. Then moving on from there, we went more into the literature. So the first one was Clarity and Connection, which was basically poetry. It was kind of self-help in the form of poetry. So I don't know if you tried to get into that one.
Yes, I actually read that too.
Okay.
Clarity and Connection.
Yeah.
That was really good. That was a
Yeah.
really good book.
Yeah.
That was easy and it was fast and
Yeah.
it was a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an easy read, and
Yes.
it's one of those books that it's very easy, it's very relatable. You don't have
Yeah.
to dig too deep to find the piece or the poem that speaks to you. And most of it spoke to most of us. Then we had what did we have? The Awakening, I believe, was the book after that we had. This is when we start getting into proper literature. So if
Mhm.
you've never read literature, it definitely you're going to have resistance around this. The Awakening, and now we finished East of Eden, and now we're in the middle of reading, Tess. So Tess is also older literature. East of Eden is a little bit more contemporary, but if you have never been in the practice of allowing yourself to get lost in literature, older literature, right? So not pop, modern, current things. Of course, you're going to find resistance around that. And that's part of the process. And the idea is not for you to fall in love with the books or to um, get hooked into the books. The idea was for you to allow yourself to be in a process of reading, of allowing yourself to immerse yourself in something you've never done before, and potentially being able to connect with the characters, with a story, with a theme, with a conflict, whether or not you actually end up loving the book or not. So I think what tends to happen especially when we see literature that maybe the language is a little bit, let's say, convoluted, it's older kind of speaking, we just get turned off. We can't really, it's not what we're used to, not how we're used to speaking or reading in modern day times. But it's so important to allow yourself that experience, because the reason these books have, lasted as long as they have is because of the impact that they can have on you. But they can't have an impact unless you read it. So don't get too caught up, I would say, in trying to understand every single analogy or metaphor or, really, really deep message. Read it and see whatever it is that you can take away from it, because whatever it is you are going to take away is what's going to have the bigger impact, not sort of forcing yourself to become this like super duper, you know, analytical English literature, major while you're reading. Relax into it and just enjoy it and try to, it uses different parts of your brain also that we might not use on a regular basis. So it expands the what do you call it? I can't find the word. It expands your capabilities, just your linguistic capabilities. It expands your ability to feel and to think and to isolate yourself for a little bit from the real world and get lost in sort of an imaginary world. So not every book is going to be quote unquote an easy read, and that is the point. So take another shot at it. I would say if you want to stay up to date with where we are, our next book is Tess of the D'Urberville. We're doing that next week. You could do that in a week. You could read that in a week. If you read like
Okay.
30 pages, 40 pages a day, more or less between today and Monday, you could probably do that. Maybe a bit more than 30, 40, maybe 50.
Okay.
But it's literature. It's, I think, such a lost art, such a lost indulgence.
I totally agree, but
Yeah.
my take on that is we're already struggling with a couple of things. I mean, we're trying to work on food, we're trying to work on environment, we're trying to um uh stay away from social media, from TV, from screens, and I think it's a lot of work. Adding to that, heavy literature is making it seem like too much work. And I feel like I need to get back into reading first before taking on a heavy book. Um, I would like to take it on a book that's interesting, that would actually take me away from the screen, uh, to be to sit in that corner and read and enjoy.
Hmm.
And then maybe at some point when that becomes part of my day, when it becomes a daily ritual where I don't need to, like, make an effort to sit and read, then I would switch to a heavier book. Do you get what I mean?
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Doing both, I mean, taking on something that's heavy while struggling with taking the
Here's
time
the
to sit and read is
yeah,
like a bit too
yeah.
much.
But here's the thing, have you carved out time because you're away from social media? Like you said you do have an hour in the day where you have kind of quiet time
Yes,
before the kids come home,
yes,
right?
yes,
I would
yes.
start, I mean, the only reason you think it's heavy is because you might have just decided that it's heavy, right? Like if we ask four of us here if we think it's heavy, we're going to get four different responses. So reframe your perception of it, right? It might be different,
Okay.
100% different to what you're used to reading, right? But that doesn't make it heavy. And naturally, if you attach the word heavy to any activity, anything, it's going to be very, very challenging for you to follow through. The brain doesn't want your critter brain doesn't want to do something heavy. It doesn't want to do something difficult. It doesn't want to do something that is, boring. Your critter brain wants you always to be happy, wants you always to seek pleasure, wants you always to seek comfort. So if you continuously repeat to it, this book is heavy, this literature is heavy, it's going to give you all sorts of reasons not to do it. Like,
Okay.
so just remind yourself of the way that your subconscious is going to support your resistance. So instead of fighting for your limitations, instead of saying, it's the literature is heavy, the book is heavy, that's why I can't get into it. Let's reframe that and let's find one way where you can support this. Instead of finding a way to continuously support the way that you can't do it, let's find one way that's going to help you to actually do it. It might be as simple as I'm just going to sit down for 10 minutes and just read 10 pages.
Hmm.
That's it. Especially if we're not in the habit of reading and you forget that it's literature. The brain, it's like, and you do yoga. Imagine you don't do yoga for 10 years. I know that's like horrific for you to imagine, but imagine. Or let's say you take a friend of yours, okay? Somebody who's never done yoga before. And because you do yoga every single day for 2 hours, you know how the benefits are out of this world. You've experienced it. You have direct experience of it. And so you've convinced your friend to come with you. You can see, her. You know that she is not okay in her body. Maybe she's not okay in her mind. Maybe there's stress. Maybe there's physical issues. And you know that she just needs to get started. And imagine you take her, and then after the first day, she's like, oh, this is just too heavy. It's just too much. I'm not going to bother. But that it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of getting her into it, day by day, little by little, because the benefits don't happen on the first day. They don't even happen
Hmm.
maybe on the 10th day or even after a month.
Yeah.
So, maybe you felt like that with yoga at first. Maybe you felt it was too hard, too slow, too heavy, until it didn't. Or anything you've done before, like the detox, right? Remember how it felt at the beginning versus how it feels now. It's the same thing. It's the same mindset anytime we try to apply ourselves to something completely new and different.
Yes, sure.
So start with 10 minutes.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome. Heidi Head,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good. We're just
Alhamdulillah.
sharing wins. So if you want to share a
Okay.
win with us from the couple weeks ago when we last shared wins also, and around
W-
anything that we've been doing so far.
Well, my win this week is that I've gone back to reading every
Mhm.
day. So I'm
Amazing.
really happy about that. Yes.
Good. Yeah.
I'm enjoying tests. Even though maybe I've read about 100 pages or something, but it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
That's
Tess is a good book.
that's my win for this week.
Love it. Amazing. All right.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. In
Alhamdulillah.
between Ramadan, Azumat and things like this is all I've been able to do actually. So, but it's good. It's okay.
That is good.
It's
That is
okay.
good
Yeah.
between Ramadan events
Yeah.
and Azumat and
Yeah.
yeah. I
Alhamdulillah.
mean, Noha, I think Noha, you're the one, yeah, you're the one saying you've been invited out every single day.
Every single day. I've had two Zumas at my house, and the rest of the days I was invited.
Goodness. And you're gonna take a break
Yeah.
this week, we
I'm
hope.
taking a break. That's it. It's
Okay.
just the first 10 days, and then
Yeah,
the rest of Ramadan will be hopefully. But last week of Ramadan, I'm coming to Egypt, so that's
okay.
going to be hectic too.
Another hectic week. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's ever a time to really express, the need for boundaries, if needed, it would be this time, right? And especially that, we're talking about spirituality, we're talking about a month that's focused on spirituality. It is different for everybody. So eh, not everybody experiences or practices spirituality the same way, but if it's something that is important to you, and we know that as it is one of the primary foods, it is one of those areas of our lives that feed our soul, that when it is neglected or not being given adequate attention to, it can affect our physical health, whether that is, I mean, we know the mind and the body are connected. So it can literally affect your health indirectly, and then it can affect your health directly because it's one of those things where if you're not connected spiritually, if you don't sort of have a higher power that grounds you, um, spirituality is all about letting go. So if you're constantly in this control mode and not allowing a bigger plan to take hold, you can use food to deal with that, to help fill that void, so to speak. So the activities that we were doing, taking in mind, of course, that this is a very, you know, packed month. Ramadan is a packed month. Also, the ladies who practice, who are, there's also Lent, time for Lent. So it's fasting for everybody in the group. So it is very important. This is why I felt like not to add to whatever it is you may be doing during this month spiritually, right? Because, everybody's different. Some people are fasting and doing the prayers and doing the reading and doing all the things, right? But some people are not quite there with all the things. Some people, I mean, I've met people who still don't fast at all during Ramadan. And there's no judgment. Everybody's is where they need to be. But the idea is with the recommendations I've put forth last week and this week is that they're simple so that they don't add to your spiritual they don't take away from your spirituality for this month, but they can help enhance it if need be. So last week's recommendation was simply for you to think about what your intention is for this month. You might be doing, the fasting and the reading the Quran and the prayers and the Taraweeh and everything that you're doing. But have you thought about the intention behind that? Why are you doing the fasting? Why are you doing the prayers and the readings? And then for this week, I have you, because this is something I struggled with, I realized that, you can do the practices. But again, like so many things we might do in our lives, we do them just to get them, like just to tick off the box. Like, right, I did the prayer, I did the reading, I did the fasting. But what if we were to connect a little bit more? And some of you might already be there, but what if we could connect to the practice a little bit more? So this week's recommendation was about, when you are in prayer, whichever type of prayer, can you think about it more as a conversation rather than it's just you reciting? Can you just take a moment and reflect and write down what you feel once you're done with the prayer instead of just wrapping it up and going on to the next activity? Just again, slowing down with whatever it is you may already be doing this month to strengthen your spirituality. So it's not about forcing you to do something spiritual. It's about, right, whatever it is you're already doing, how can you just slow it down a bit and connect to it a little bit more? So I'd love to hear those of you who have read last week's module or this week's module, who have implemented it, what you're discovering as you're doing this, or if you have any questions.
Well, I could start with it's funny because or maybe I was inspired by what your what you shared with us about the conversation in the prayers. And so yesterday I was thinking that even though I haven't done Taraweeh at all this month, okay, and ever since I moved to the UK, my Taraweeh were not like like a religiously everyday practice, but I know that I feel I'm more connected in terms of the connection with the with what God or or ربنا, even though I was not ticking the boxes.
Mm.
And I think that something also that I'm still, when I pray very fast.
Mm.
Okay. And just yesterday I was praying, and then I think I was about to do sujud, and then I put my hand on my heart as if I want like Amira, slow down your heartbeats, because I could feel that I want to do it, get get it over with, so
Yes,
that I go and I don't know do what, and I'm
yes,
like, it's okay. So I literally put my my palm on my my chest, and I'm like, okay, and it helps me. I mean, maybe people will disagree on that, but I tell myself, Amira, in the yoga pose, you take your time and you breathe. Okay, why not انتي when you are doing a ركوع or a sujood or whatever
mm,
whatever the faith is، تمام، ما take your time،
yeah,
يعني ما enjoy the pause، يعني نفس
exactly.
like
Yes,
like live or lose yourself in the in the pause itself. ف um, um, I told one of my friends about that. She thought I was crazy لأنه أنا يعني as if I have my own version بقى of Islam and those kinds of you know
yeah.
those kinds of talks. تمام، بس حقيقي honestly it works for me. It works for me. I
This is
have to
it. This
remind
is it
myself طب ما
exactly.
أنت في اليوجا you do this، تمام، وبتتake your time،
Yeah.
okay، وبتbreathe in allow to make more space to open up your body and open up I don't know what
Mm.
طب خلاص do the same. And I think it works for me. So
This is exactly, and the reason I put that in there is because I speed. Tak, 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 finish,
yes,
take
yes,
off, done, run,
yes,
right?
yes.
I don't know where this comes from. I don't know why. I don't know why. And it's so important to. I mean, I mean, I'm sure God accepts it all, right? But the whole point of maturing, right? Like, what's the point of us still praying this way at 50, the same way we did when we were 20, fast, you know? There has to be a point where we evolve and mature into this process, just like everything else. So that's I mean, you've nailed it. You found the way to do that. And I love that. If it's working for you, it's working for you. I mean, I
Yeah.
got goosebumps when you said that.
Oh,
Yeah, I really did.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because
And no, yes. And again, I mean, sharing, being honest, like, for example, I do the Isha. I don't do the, اتنين شفع واحدة وتر. I think, as you were saying, um, Ramadan as a persona, as a state of being, they mandate on us, certain rituals. Okay, like for example, at Tarawih, when I know my friends in Egypt when I used to live there, at Tarawih, to go to the, al masjid for Tarawih, that is, but it's more like a social thing. It's more like a social event, a social outing, يعني I don't want to be so يعني prejudiced إنه I say إنه الconnection is not really there.
yeah,
بس فأنتي you speed up in your prayer in Ramadan more than usual because you have a huge, a never ending to-do list.
yeah,
ورايا I have to do this and this and this and thaw this and take this out of the freezer and make sure and marinate this before tomorrow's I don't know what, okay, and make sure that this is good and send this عند المكواجي and I don't know, call this to get me whatever. all of this يعني clutter,
clutter.
it's clutter, in
Yeah,
your head.
yeah,
بنيجي بقى عند the time for spirituality, okay،
and كروت.
بالظبط
Yes,
بالظبط.
yeah,
I think now I understand why a couple of my friends, they always have it إنه لا, Ramadan is a very down time. They make it clear that they don't want to invite people أو go to other people's عشان هم in this month
yeah,
يعني they want to be in that place.
yes,
Okay, and I used to think into بالراويين قوي. Don't know how to translate that.
yeah,
I used to think come on, it's the time of togetherness.
yeah.
But only recently have I started to يعني take on board والله maybe يعني they do have a point. They do have a point.
Yeah.
So
Everybody, I think we all get to that point at different times. in our lives. Fair enough. Everybody's different. Everybody works at their own pace. But yeah, I think recognizing that if the spiritual growth is important for you, right? That you do have to remove things off your plate. You do have to create the space for that. You do have to hold that space, sacred space for that in order for it to happen. And if you're not somebody who can, you know, keep out the clutter and keep out the chatter and keep out the noise. You need to know yourself. You need to know yourself. If you are not able to compartmentalize
Yes.
and be able to have the focus and I guess be able to have the busy social life at the same time, then you need to ask yourself, where's the priority for me this month? And be really honest with yourself and take the honest steps, the hard steps, probably. Yeah, definitely. Nihad, go ahead.
Well, I think يعني we all have the same issue but in a different area. يعني I'm a person who cannot stay up late and برضو أصلي بالليل لغاية الساعة 1 أو 2 الصبح. I just cannot do that. I'm an early bird. I go to bed at maximum by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I just taught myself this year that I'm not going to feel guilty. Whatever part I do, the reading the Quran and praying, I'm going to be grateful that I did that. And then, I'm sure like Dana said, God accepts all these things. Alhamdulillah, يعني. I'm just saying, Amira, don't feel guilty. You're doing a great job. I'm sure as time goes on and your responsibility, I don't know, انت مثلا are you alone in the UK or live with your family?
No, I'm with family. I'm with
Okay.
my husband in the house. That's
Okay.
my daughters, they're 20 and 24. So
Okay.
yes, the younger one is studying at university further down in the south, بعيد عني. Okay, and the elder already she's moved to Cyprus. She found a job in Cyprus.
Okay.
Okay, and she lives there. For me, this is literally the first Ramadan. I was saying, I'm not without my baggage in a
Yes, yes.
positive sense, يعني.
Yeah.
Okay. فأول مرة إنه I get to really sort of indulge,
Good for
and
you. Yeah,
yes,
good for you.
Yeah.
That's really good.
this makes me feel إنه يعني reflecting again on our mothers, okay, even on I think Noha, when she says that she's got 14 and her boys are 14 and 13 or 14 and 15, again going back to the time when my kids were 14 and 15, لا, I would do things differently.
Yeah.
As also Dana was saying, when we just this the cliche الاهتمام ما بيطلبش. No, هو بيطلب اللي هو doing this is like my time or this is mom's time.
Yeah.
تمام.
Yes.
وإنه this is not selfishness. يعني I think also one of the things I think a lot about is إنه إحنا we grow up ودايما إحنا بنconfuse self love مع selfishness. إنه دايما بيعلمونا إنه if I love myself it means أنت selfish. And even worse when it's for a woman. يعني it's okay men get away with being selfish لأنه he's a man.
They're men.
يعني
They're men.
okay. لكن إحنا for women we never get away with that خالص يعني
Yeah.
So thank you.
Don't feel guilty. You're doing great.
الله يخليكي. Thank you.
And the older your kids get, I think the more you're gonna find time, and then you can sort out all your stuff.
True.
You'll find time to do all that. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Rania, go ahead. Rania, you might need to unmute yourself.
No, Dana, I think she said she cannot talk. You just have to listen to read.
Oh, but she raised her hand, Farah. You just want me to look at your comment, Rania?
Sorry, I can talk. لا,
there you
I was
are.
just unable to unmute. I was saying I had messaged that I'm where I am now. I'm very mindful with the course and working with you. I'm very mindful of a lot of things that I wasn't aware of. And like Amira was saying, being selfish and self-love, sometimes we crisscross them and confuse them. Until, even though I've been working on myself for so long, I still feel that I'm yo-yoing around that. I keep jumping in to self-love and taking care of myself and being um, making myself a priority. And yet I'll jump back into the um, what's it called? Like feeling guilty. Uh, and it's not the other, it's not my children's fault or anyone else's fault but my own, because I'm the one that's receiving and making myself feel like that. But even though, yeah, I mean, I feel it's just a um constant work. And I think it's a muscle that we have to just constantly work on to strengthen it. Definitely, where I am now is definitely not where I was like a couple of years ago. But وحتى with like the spirituality, I was saying also that I'm زي برضو Amira was saying على حكاية الصلاة with reading Quran, you're so used to doing it, so you just do it without actually, thinking of it. And من كام يوم كده I was sitting with someone and they were saying, I heard about إنك المفروض تركعي وتفضلي راكعة شوية and certain things كده that I realized I'm not doing it. I'm just praying وحتى when I'm praying I'm like thinking of زي ما برضو الحاجة لازم تطلع من الفريزر، لازم احط مش عارفة فين. And just the past 2 days اللي هو لا، لما هركع بشويش وهطلع بشويش. It's not a race. It's not a race. I wouldn't do that if I was talking to someone in front of me. I wouldn't just leave them or rush through a conversation. When it comes to God or كده, we need to take our time and be more and being mindful. I think كمان حتى وانا بقرا قرآن وكده, when you're mindful, and thank you so much for this module, لأن because of it and reading it and keeping that in my mind, لما بقرا قرآن طبعا my mind goes to other things, but because I'm aware, I go back on track. It keeps going, and I pull my attention back to what I'm doing, even though a lot of times I don't know if everyone's like that, but a lot of times أنا ما ببقاش فاهمة أنا بقرا إيه. أنتي عارفة يعني yeah, our schooling was different. Reading the Quran, I don't understand a lot of things. I'm just reading it because I know it's important. But على الأقل when I'm reading it, I want to be there and present, even حتى لو if I don't understand everything. But yeah, it's good.
That's all beautiful, ladies. Yeah. Most of us don't understand. I mean, this is definitely very comforting to hear. Yeah. There isn't I mean, I'm guilty of really only reading the Quran only during Ramadan. And every year I say when Ramadan is finished, I want to be reading it throughout the year. Like I don't have to finish it, but just, every once in a while, or like make a regular practice of it. And I still haven't succeeded with that. Only happens during Ramadan. And I'm uh every Ramadan I come back to it, and every Ramadan I'm just like, I still don't understand. So I don't know. I definitely, there are things I see patterns. I can see sort of recurring ways, that things are written, but it's definitely comforting to hear that, I'm not the only one who after years and years still doesn't understand. Yeah. So that's good to know. Definitely. But I think the important thing is, the effort that we're putting in. We're not giving up. We're not giving up. But maybe the next step, right? Maybe one of the ways that we can start to understand is to slow down. So maybe even though we read it every year, but if every year we're still reading fast, let's just get through it. I need to finish one chapter a day. That might be impeding our ability to absorb more or understand more, So maybe by slowing it down as a first step, that might be one of the ways we can start to understand it. Nihad, go ahead.
Well, I give you a tip. I don't know if what helped me to understand the Quran is when I read the stories about the prophets for my I read Taban, of course, the children's version because my Arabic is yani, very poor. I didn't have Arabic in school. That helped me understand parts of the Quran. Of course, not
Okay.
maybe masalan, just when it's talking about this prophet, I understand because I read the story about him,
Yeah.
the children's version, and
Yeah.
yani, but it helps if none of you have read the prophet's stories, maybe that can be a start
Maybe we
for
can
you
start with
guys
the kids' versions.
yeah, they're good. Wallahi, they're really good. They're fun to read.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
That's a good
And
idea.
they will help you understand a little bit
Yeah.
more, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny. That's a personal anecdote here. So when I was in Dubai, I inspect schools. I go, I do school inspections. And one week I was at a Filipino school, and some of the kids did Islamic studies, they call it. Okay, and for me, I mean, wow, I mean, they're not, Arabic is not the first language. They do everything in English, blah blah blah. But observing a lesson, I discovered that the kids, they knew nothing about, like Prophet's story, even though they were doing a lesson on Hajj, on pilgrimage. So anyway, long story, يعني, short. So one of my recommendations was, have the start of every lesson, have 5 or 10 minutes on one of the Prophet stories. Okay. And I remember writing, in my report that everyone likes stories,
Mhm.
So when you tell them the story, and then you can, and for every story, there's a value, and there's a lesson, and there's a miracle and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And this would be a very good intro, for people who are also non-Arab speaking. So yeah, and yes, and it's I love this too. I mean the stories. And one thing also I do with the Quran is like I start by picking my favorite. Like I don't go actually by order of chapters. Like I think
Mhm.
I'm past this stage.
Really?
There was a time when I was like, okay, a part or a chapter every day.
Yeah.
Okay, and I remember my auntie would tell me, لا يا أميرة بقى, your next step إنه you finish it 3 times, يعني العشرة 10, so I did this kind of marathon kind of thingy.
Wow. Okay.
I don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't do this anymore. Okay, and I think I start with what would soothe me. Okay, so for example, okay, where there is Jonas or Sayyidina Yunus, he's one of my favorite. I think I so much identify with the swallow being in the whale. Okay, I love فنجيناه. I love this thing. Okay. I love the thing انه the more you repeat انه لا اله الا انت, it's very soothing for me. Okay. So I always like to go there. Okay. I mean, I find my
Wow,
peace.
that's
I find my
interesting.
peace there.
Yeah, right? I never,
Okay.
never, ever heard that. I mean, I guess
Mm.
theoretically, who says you have to do it in order, but no one has ever said that, right?
But I've heard, Yadana, that I asked this question once,
Yeah.
and I was told, but yani, I don't know how true this is, that you're supposed to read it in sequence. I don't know if
Yeah.
yani, the lady who told me,
Yeah.
yani, she
Fair
takes
enough.
دروس دين
Yes.
وكده.
Yeah.
فشي told me لا يعني هاد you have to read, you're supposed to read. بس يعني والله I firmly believe إن ربنا بيقبل كل حاجة والله طالما إن
Is he
انت
gonna say
نيتك
no?
كويسة
Like,
يعني
is he
he's
gonna
not
say
gonna
no?
بالظبط
Right?
no
But I
Yes.
mean,
definitely not.
I get reading it in sequence if you've never read it. Okay, first time.
But actually it's not a story in sequence يا دانا أساس يعني هي it's not as if it's a story and you have the sequence
Yes, that's what,
is
yeah,
the
that's what I'm
right
saying.
one.
I understand, yeah, when you first read it, 15 years into reading it, right? But after so many years, like, what's gonna happen if you don't read it in sequence,
Yeah.
That's very interesting. That might make it even But like you really have to know your chapters to do that,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you I don't think you can still be in the kind of maybe where I am, where you're still kind of struggling with understanding, right? To
yes.
choose.
I
I would
I
because I
also,
would
I
also
mean,
choose the really short ones first.
yeah, I mean, I was again, but it's very, it's very, I mean, personalized. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I mean, for me, I'm looking for the connection. I'm looking for the spirituality more than anything else. So
yes.
whatever that would resonate with me, sits well with me,
Mm.
Yeah.
help me feel better and more connected, I would do it.
I'd
You
love
know,
that. I mean, thank you
yeah.
for I think giving all of us permission to just consider this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's the point? يعني أنا as you were saying, all of you about God accepts thing. يعني هو ربنا or God is not واقف بأبكس بيعد. Okay, Amira has
Yeah.
done this. يلا
Yeah.
برافو Amira. Bonus.
Yeah.
1 point for
Yeah.
Amira, 2 for Dana.
Mm.
3 for Nihal. لا it doesn't work this way.
Right.
لو إنه ربنا or God or هو is way bigger, higher, more, more everything than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think
Mm.
it's just once knowing yourself and knowing, what you need and knowing what would make you closer and more connected. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it is that. So it is important in the spirituality, and yes, yeah.
Follow your heart.
Follow your
Yeah.
heart, right? I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
what a lot of us are starting to realize
Mm.
is key here,
Mm.
for so many
Yeah.
parts of our lives that we really do need to it's always been there. It's always spoken to us. Our intuition has
Mm.
always been, desperately trying to communicate, and we ignore it because of the shoulds and the woulds and the have tos and all of this. And I do believe we're all coming into a part of our life where we're going to trust that part more now. We're going to give it more credit and give it more power and give it more say versus all the rules.
Yeah.
And I think for spirituality especially, it is about the heart.
Yeah.
It is about that connection.
Definitely.
Definitely. Oh my goodness. Well, I definitely needed to hear all of this today. Thank you, ladies. Yeah. I mean, that saying, we have a saying in coaching where like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So all of us, I'm sure, have needed on some level, support on something, validation around something, permission, to think of something in a different way. And then when you need it, it just comes together. And
Mm.
it's very magical when that happens.
It is. And I
Mm.
think also, again, speaking for myself, you get lost in the details, and in the rituals, and this comes at the expense of real spirituality.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I mean, the society is more about judging again by the outer appearance, the outer practices, the
Mm.
outer, and how much this fit into society set up an expectation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think, or for me, comes at the expense of, spirituality. Okay. And yes, I guess at the moment I became conscious, very self-conscious of it. And I decided that, no, I want to be more spiritual, and this helps me, become more spiritual. So I think what I want to say is when you are immersed in it, it clouds your judgment, it clouds your vision. It becomes difficult to really see things or to know yourself. You just need to just take a step back, or I mean, if you're lucky, and usually it comes sometimes, even it comes in, sometimes it comes in disguise, like you a bad thing happened to you, and it does serve as an eye-opening
Yeah.
a moment for you. So definitely
Conscious spirituality. Conscious spirituality.
yes
Yeah.
yes
Versus just,
Yes.
robotic. I mean, I'm definitely, I've definitely still parts of me are just robotic spirituality for sure.
Yes.
That needs
Yeah,
to,
but that's okay too, ya Dana. It's
it
okay.
is.
يعني
I'm not
it's
making
a
it
step.
wrong.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
not
step.
making it,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not making it wrong, but in the same way, I think that we put so much effort into being conscious about our health, right? Conscious about everything
Yeah.
we're creating physically for our body. Conscious in our relationships, conscious in how we express ourselves. We're very conscious in our thoughts. We're going to catch our thoughts and reframe our thoughts and reframe our percep like we're creating consciousness and on so many levels. This deserves us to be just as conscious, just as everything else does. Maybe it's just
Yes.
another level of our evolution here is to become very spiritually conscious, not just going through the motions, you know? And this does happen. I mean, it's interesting. We're all sort of experiencing this because there is always a collectiveness. There's always a collective consciousness, and shifts happen, you know, to chunks of people at the same time. It's not just me feeling it. Like we're
Yeah.
all of us on some level feeling this at the same time. We didn't all just make, get together and decide, okay, this Ramadan, this is how we're going to start to feel. It happens subconsciously to all of us. I think there's a need because there's a need for that. Like as humanity goes through its evolution, it does do it collectively. So it's I'm not surprised because I understand this concept, but it still surprises me when it happens.
I think it also makes me think about, why, in the West, they become so attracted and, to Buddhism, for example. Like you'd find many of the people around you, like into, Buddhism and into this. And I think because actually this is the journey looking for spirituality, and because it becomes so materialistic and because everything, is so transactional and everything is so calculated.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess, yes, everyone, as you said, just all, collectively, humanity in general, I think, I'd say most of us, need that. And everyone looks for it, in their own way.
In their own way. It's when I first came to Japan, so in April was my first visit, and what we know of Japan, I don't want to, maybe I was, ignorant to some level, but what we understand of their spirituality is there really isn't. They don't believe in God, for example. Like there's no monotheistic religion. There's a very small percentage of them that are Catholics, but a very small percentage. The rest of them, it's all about the shrines, and it's part Buddhism, part I think what's called Shintoism,
I think they have Taoism or whatever. Yeah.
something like that. So, I went, my daughter took me to like a couple of shrines because that's what you go do here. That's what you go see.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, so they don't have religion or spiritual religion, I'm going to say. They don't have religion the way we understand it. But after going to a few shrines, what struck me was at each shrine, there's like an entry, there's those shaped entryways they have. Okay, that's the entrance to the shrine. I just walk through because I don't know what it is, but every Japanese person comes to this and they do a little bow at the entrance to the shrine. And then you go inside and they're sort of like, I guess you call it an altar of something, of some sort. And next to it is a fountain where they like have their own version of,
Yes.
okay. So they cleanse themselves,
Yes.
purify
So they have
themselves
a,
with
yeah.
some kind of water. Okay. And then they go and sit in front of this shrine or structure. Oh, and it's all quiet, like you don't hear what they're saying. It's very all quiet, very private. And then in one section, it's all open. There's no roof. Like everything is just under nature. It's all inside like a forest, right? So it's just these little structures, but it's not a building. So then off to one side, there's this little shop where you go and buy these little like wooden sort of a plaque كده, wooden. And then they have next to it these little pieces of paper with like little ties كده. And what they do is on the piece of paper, they write down everything they don't want, like things they're scared of happening, their worries, their fears, okay? And then they twist the piece of paper up and they tie it. You know those ties that you get like
Mm.
garbage bag ties?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's one like a big bulletin board where everybody hangs up these pieces of paper of everything they don't want. And they just hang up this piece of paper of things they don't want.
Mhm.
And then the wooden plaque, it's visible. They write on it what they do want. So I want to do, when I was here in April, it was at the beginning of their academic year. Their academic year starts in April. So a lot, and my son-in-law speaks Japanese and understands it. So he was reading them to me. So they were all around, please, I want to get good grades this year. Please help me succeed this year. حاجات كده. So one side, الحاجات that they don't want, and one side is their prayer.
Mm.
So you're just struck by, okay, they technically don't believe in God the way we know God, as far as we know, as far as what we've learned about them,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
But they're writing this to something. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like to someone, something. Like who are they hanging this up for?
Yes.
What they want and what they don't want.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, so there's spirituality there. There is a higher power that they're
Yes.
speaking to. Might not be the one that we've learned to speak to, or the way that we understand religion, but you can't also call them not, you can't say that they don't believe.
No.
I mean, for them to go through that process and to, you know, cleanse themselves, purify themselves, stand in front of this structure, write what they don't want, what they want, and what they don't want. Whoever it is that's out there that's listening to them, I don't know who, isn't that spirituality? Isn't that a connection to something?
Some kind of a connection, yes.
Yes.
Some kind of a connection. I would have never understood it, I don't think, had I not actually been there, come here and seen it. I would have probably just spent my whole life thinking, okay, they don't have religion, but they just don't have religion the way we do. It's just different. So everybody does, I think, intuitively has a need to connect with a higher power
Wow.
in some way.
Mhm.
Yeah, just an observation I made when I was here, which surprised me. It was very surprising.
Mm.
But I'm really happy to hear that, I mean, what Rania said, that the module is important because, yeah, that need to slow down. It's just, I mean, if you're sitting there reading anyway, you might as well do it in the way that's going to benefit you the most. At the most basic level, you know? If you're going to do it anyway, do it to the best of your ability. Do it in a way that's going to give you the most reward at the end, I think.
Mm.
And also just, I think, like, be kind to yourself, that not every session, not every prayer, not every reading, not every Ramadan, not every religious cycle is going to be the same.
Yeah.
True. Oh, true.
Yeah.
And how many hours apart are you from Asya then?
It's
No,
9:30 p.m. right now for me.
so 7 hours.
Yeah.
7 hours ahead of us. Okay. Mm.
So Dana, you say that you have your smoothie for iftar?
Not right now. And I can have one. It's
Yeah.
still really, really great when I do. Um, I was saying that I just noticed that I can't do lemon water on
Lemon
it,
water. Yes.
but I can do a smoothie.
Yeah.
There was one Ramadan, I think 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Yeah, I had a smoothie only at Fatar for the whole Ramadan. Oh my God.
That's the smoothie. Only the smoothie. I have the smoothie for suhoor.
Yeah. And then what did I
So
have for
yeah.
suhoor? I can't remember. I had another one for suhoor, or maybe for suhoor, maybe my suhoor was like the more of a meal. I can't remember, but I just remember the feeling of just a smoothie at Fitr time.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Haven't been able to do it
Mm.
since,
Yeah.
um, for many reasons. I mean,
Mm.
mindset is the biggest one, but I think there's been, what are there is no reason. I think it was also a very, very quiet Ramadan. Like I knew I wasn't invited anywhere. I wasn't going anywhere. It helps.
This helps,
Mm.
yes.
Yeah, it definitely helps. But I'm looking forward to do that. Like inshallah, I would love to be able to do that again one Ramadan.
Yeah. My
It's
God, I when I returned from Dubai, and you know when you have addiction, I mean, I could feel in my body is so much. I've never felt this way. I was craving for the fruit smoothie اللي هو يعني عندي أعراض انسحاب you know the withdrawal symptoms إنه 6 weeks I haven't had a smoothie, you know, in the sense.
yeah.
Okay, وإنه you know that I used to have a sweet tooth. I used to crave for sugar.
Yeah.
بس الحمد لله, ever since I started the hormone healing thing, this is subsided, big deal.
Yeah.
So I'm craving, and I would remember in my ear hearing that's good, but you're craving something healthy. You're craving for.
Yeah.
I felt literally inside of me there was this sort of, it was like void inside of me, and I need to fill it with fresh veggies,
Yeah.
fruit smoothies, apples, celery,
Yeah.
all the things I didn't have access to while I was away.
That's a long
I'm
time. That's a long
yes,
time.
yes. I mean, I could get there like fresh orange juice, or fresh pineapple juice, but not, or a green juice if I'm lucky, pick it up at whatever.
We should have hooked you up with Rania or Noha, if only.
Yes, the thing is my working hours, I mean, I had the Talabat, app on my phone, but the thing is I leave the hotel 6 o'clock in the morning. I return to the hotel 5:30 in the evening, and I return and I start writing my report, until 11.
Wow.
So I mean, the way it is set up, doesn't allow you, to do the things. The fruit smoothie is a great invention. Thank you so much and for introducing me to it. Yeah, the greatest invention.
So, good news is that بعد العيد inshallah we're doing a deep detox.
Yalla. Okay.
Fruits only that I've never done before. I've done it, but I've never led a group through it before. So get ready, ladies. Yeah.
Okay.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Anybody has anything else to share or questions around spirituality or the recommendations? Ranya's excited. Yes. I'm excited too. I'm not gonna they really don't do fruits in Japan. It's a strange phenomena that fruits here are very, very limited. Vegetables, crazy vegetables. Crazy variety of vegetables, crazy variety of leafy greens. Fruits, I don't think I've ever seen this anywhere I've ever been. Hardly any. Like right now, we just have strawberries. Okay, okay. Any that you can afford. Okay. So a bag of apples, the cheap bag of apples, sorry, I think one apple is $3.
Woof.
Oh,
Yes. Yes. It's crazy.
oh.
One mango, they have these mangoes that are like this big, and it's really funny. They put them in like a very fancy box. And I learned that the reason for that is because one mango costs $50.
عمر يا مصر.
And so they put it
Oh
in a
my
fancy
goodness.
box because it's basically like what
A
you take
diamond.
as a hostess gift. Like if you're going to somebody's house and you want to take something, يعني ترى عزومة, you
Wow.
take the
Angaya.
mango. You take the mango in the fancy box.
Bananas? No, they're not
Bananas are fine.
okay.
The strawberries, we're buying them now because they're on sale. You get like 5, maybe like 10 strawberries for $5.
Ooh,
And this is
that's so
on sale.
expensive.
On sale.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
It's
طب
it's bizarre.
what is their local fruits يعني? What kind of fruits do
Oranges,
they have?
an orange,
Okay.
that's their local thing.
What about those weird fruits that they have in Thailand وكده? Do they have things
لا,
like that there?
no, Thailand
الباشن
is
fruit والدراجون والدراجون
not
أيوة
here.
what
dragon
Not
fruit
here.
والstar
Totally different.
fruit والحاجات.
Remember, Japan is an island, okay? And
Okay.
they're very قافلين قوي. They're very shut off, okay?
Okay.
So no, it's nothing like Thailand, nothing like the fruit. In Thailand, I've never been to
Yeah.
Thailand, but I hear, right? All the mangoes and the
Yeah.
pineapples and the exotic, and they're cheap and they're everywhere, like
Yeah.
in the stalls and the streets. No, not like here. It's very, very different. And when you go out to eat here, it's basically miso soup, rice, some kind of a protein, and fermented vegetables.
Okay. Fermented يعني مخلل ولا إيه؟
Yeah, kimchi,
Okay.
حاجات كده different. Yeah.
Okay.
Hardly any fruits. It's very bizarre.
but their health is
Yeah.
good. I mean, yes, I mean they don't have
They
Do they
don't
have obesity? They don't have obesity there, أكيد. لا.
very, very انتي ماشي when you walk in the street, you hardly ever I can count the number of just not even obese, just overweight people that I've seen
Okay.
in the street. Practically doesn't exist.
Is kimchi, is it healthy? It's a type of cabbage, صح?
It's like it's a
Pickled
fermented.
cabbage?
Yeah, it's a fermented cabbage.
Fermented.
هما بيعملوا the kimchi بيعملوا lots of different types of fermented vegetables. So, and different types of kimchi.
بس الfermented دولت مش not considered healthy.
Technically, يعني every once in a while, right? But too much of anything fermented can also like ferment your insides as well, right? But
In your
and
stomach.
obviously, and
Okay.
they eat a lot of sushi. So their sushi is also not like the sushi that we know. Their sushi is just the raw. Like ما فيش الفunky. عارفة you go في مصر في rolls ومش عارفة إيه. No, it doesn't exist. It's just the raw fish with the rice. That's it. They don't even do. I don't think they even do the soy sauce because I don't eat sushi. Just what my daughter has told me. I don't think they even eat the soy sauce or like the
wasabi.
No, I don't think.
No, they.
No,
Oh
I
my
think it's
goodness!
just
I heard it's not very tasty, the Japanese sushi. And
well, compared to what we eat, it's very different. My daughter and her husband, they love, love, love sushi. She's pregnant. She can't eat it. The first thing she wants to eat, the first thing she wants her husband to bring her, بعد الولادة إن شاء الله, is a big platter of sushi. She said that once you taste it and appreciate it, you will never eat sushi anywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just don't like raw. Raw. I can't do, for me, I have to eat the fake sushi. Anyway, the fried shrimp wrapped in the rolls. I can't do the raw. I never have been able to. So this is something I'm not able to experience here really or appreciate yet. But I think inshallah بعد لما تولد, she wants to take me to like a sushi place. I'll have to get brave, and try it and see.
Okay.
But yeah, so they eat a lot of fish. Like even their protein intake is basically lots of fish and it's all like steamed. Steamed fish, rice, miso, vegetables, كده.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, whatever they're doing, it's working for them. So
it's working. The few when they see people gaining weight here, it's not because it's not from their food. It's because دخل عليهم بقى also the McDonald's, the junk food, things that are not traditional to them, and that's what's causing issues. Not from their own traditional.
Not therefore.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yes. Wonderful call today, ladies. Really, really, really.
Yes,
Yeah, I have to say,
Thank you
it's
so
like a
much.
private
No, it was so
conversation,
good.
us both.
yeah, yeah, it really was.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Um,
thanks.
yeah, I really, really appreciate that. Appreciate all.
Dan, I don't know if you've answered the question بتاعت somatic exercise. Do we
Yeah.
need to, like, when we finish it, do we redo it again?
Oh, yes, yes, I saw that one. So what I've done is the first time I did it, I felt complete. Okay, so because I felt
Mhm.
complete, I didn't feel like I needed to repeat it.
Okay.
I only went back to it when I felt I needed it again.
Okay.
So if you,
Okay.
I'm guessing if you don't feel so complete, then
Mhm.
repeat it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everything that you've like the things that you've asked us to do, it's like you want it um, to be done regularly, like الفلاورز طبعا regular. في حاجات اللي هي regular بس مثلا the hair mask and في حاجات اللي هي occasionally. Is that what you wanted برضو installed in
I would
our
say like, for example, the things like like everything, like the hair mask and the face yoga, you're not going to feel benefits from one time or a couple times a week. You know, the face yoga especially is something to be done at least 5 or 6 times a
regular?
week. The hair mask, I would say at least 2 times a week, right? Once a week is probably not going to be, you're
Okay.
not going to really see anything. And all the other
Okay.
things, like the flowers, the dinner, all of this, really like just to get you into the habit of slowing down, creating beauty around you, tapping into your feminine. So you might feel like one week it's more about focusing on decluttering. This is going to help me tap into my feminine, calm me down. One week it's
Okay.
about the flowers.
Okay.
Maybe the flowers become an easy routine for you to do. So a big part of the feminine is not to force anything either, right? It is about really feeling into what makes you feel good, what makes you feel feminine, what helps you to slow down. So, I mean, definitely, I always feel like when I fall out, so let's say, you get into the habit of the flowers and then for whatever reason, maybe Ramadan, right? It's just too many things happening in the Ramadan for you to think about flowers on top of it. And so you stop. It's when you stop that you actually feel the benefit of something because it's missing. And then you bring it
Yeah.
back and you feel like, oh,
Okay.
okay, this is why I need to stick with this. So it's going to be a
زي
little
ال
different for
decluttering
everyone.
أنا حاسة إن yeah, like the decluttering, I feel that I've done a huge thing, but I feel that it's decluttering with the organization, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
يعني it's not just once وخلاص. Yeah, so that's part of it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the food, it's just like working out, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might get really used to eating in a certain way, but it's not until you fall out of the habit that you realize how good it was making you feel. You just
Yeah.
sometimes take things for granted, and then it gives you that motivation to restart again.
Mhm.
All
Yes.
right. Does everybody feel complete with today's session, or is there anything else you would like to add or share or ask?
No, I'm fine. I think we're fine.
Good.
I am fine.
Thank you.
Good. Alhamdulillah.
Thanks a lot.
Amazing. All right, ladies. Next week
Take care.
is
Test
Tess.
of Goober.
If
Yes.
anybody would like to volunteer, I'll put it in the group. I forgot. I'll put it in the group again if anybody would like to volunteer to lead that. Amira, I don't know if you saw that I'm asking the ladies to participate in the book sessions if somebody would like to
Yes.
lead. Yeah. So, last week we had Sandra. She led our East of Eden conversation and she did an amazing job. It's an opportunity also to come out of your comfort zone, try something new. Like you said, this is a safe space, safe group. We're not here to judge. We're not academics. It's not about, you analyzed it wrong. There's no right or wrong. So I'll go ahead actually post it in the group now after this call. See who would like to do. There's Tess coming up. Then there's Siddhartha. I can't recall the exact order. Siddhartha, Season of Migration to the North. If anybody would like to volunteer with us. Yes, Nihad.
I was just going to ask, could you please list Aiza, the list of books? Sorry, could you please post the list of books that were after tests because I think there are some that you canceled, but I don't
Yes.
remember
Yes.
which ones they are. So if
Okay.
you would kindly just list an updated one,
Sure.
because I
I
need
can
to
do that.
buy some new ones. Thanks a lot.
No
Okay,
problem. No problem at all.
thank you.
All
So
right.
Dana,
Okay.
leading the session would be like chairing the, like the meeting, like I would sort of, start with like opening question and invite everyone to just,
Exactly. Yeah.
that
You would
kind of
just,
thing.
it's like you would just moderate the conversation, right? Open it up. If there's some open-ended questions you want to ask, something specific you want to ask for, opinions. How did you relate to the character? How did you relate to the story? Obviously, give your input, how you felt about it, nothing really, really complicated at all or detailed. It's just we're having a very friendly, non-academic conversation around the books. And you would just lead it and moderate.
I could do it, and I'd be challenging myself because I remember I did tests, when I was back in college. It was not it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is I don't remember why, but I remember that it was not my favorite.
Okay.
So I think it's I'm gonna read it again.
Okay.
Give it another go.
Yep.
And let me lead on this. I
Wonderful.
would have loved if I had I was available. I would have loved to lead the Awakening, because the Awakening is one of my top favorite
Right.
novels.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
We had
Yes.
interesting. I think everybody was really divided over that, over hating or loving Edna.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, and it's one of also I did this back in college, and yes, I think I was kind of Team Edna. So
Yeah, so was I. Still am.
so yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I was looking at the list. I'm like, oh my God, Dana, add The Great Gatsby, add The Great Gatsby. I mean, I love Gatsby, but that's my personal taste. So I'd love that.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So you are on next week for Tess.
Okay, what time is going to be?
Same as today.
Okay.
Monday at 8 p.m. Tokyo, which is
1:30, 1 p.m.
That's
1 p.m.
11 UK time. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
ladies.
rest of
Thank
your
you.
day, and I'll see you all next week, inshallah.
Thank you,
Inshallah.
Dana. Thank you,
Okay.
Nihad. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Rania,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Bye. Bye, everyone.